The wait for more She-Ra and the Princesses of Power content is finally over, as Season 2 is releasing on Netflix on April 26th. Adora, Glimmer, Bow, Catra, and the rest of the princesses are back with a 7-episode season after many months of waiting. The rebellion continues to try and fight back against the evil horde, and Adora and Catra's rivalry is the strongest ever. As with all second seasons of serialized shows, I asked how it compared to the first season, and if it was able to elevate the stakes and story as a whole. Like with my Season 1 review, Netflix was able to let me see the full season before it aired, so I can make this review to let you know my thoughts about it. I'm Hailey from Cartoon Universe, and here's my spoiler-free review of She-Ra Season 2. This season picks back up with many of the princesses from Season 1 working together to fend off any attempts for the Horde to destroy Etheria. Frosta tries to be Glimmer's friend, which doesn't work out too well, but was trying to replace Entrapta as Tech Master. Adora tries to learn how to use her sword's transformation abilities, and Catra is dealing with being appointed to Force Captain. Even from the very first episode of the season, I was enjoying all these new challenges each of the characters were going through. With introducing all the characters out of the way, the show is able to make things much more interesting. This means we are already getting some really cool backstories for a few of the characters. But even for some of the non-main characters, giving them more screen time really helped to flesh out their personalities. Last season I was a bit iffy on characters such as Seahawk, Mermista, and Shadow Weaver, but this season really made me like them. But I would say Scorpia has to be my favorite character from this season. She is just so sweet and would do anything for Catra, even if Catra doesn't really acknowledge her as anything more than just a coworker. I also still like Entrapta a lot, but to be honest, I am still not used to her voice. From what I could tell, the animation was exactly the same, but I did feel like this season did a much better job with expressing the emotions of each character, especially in comedic situations. And speaking of comedy, this season really nails it. You can expect to see some throwbacks to the 80s show and even some anime references. It's a good time. The fight scenes are also really well done, and I love how creative they can be with using Glimmer's teleporting powers without having her completely be overpowered. There's also a lot of creativity with Entrapta's hair, which we get to see a lot more of this season. Something I thought was really cool about the show, even from Season 1, is that there's a made-up language that is used by the first ones that most cannot read except for She-Ra. This season showcases a lot more of that, even to the point where a really funny joke is made with it. It also turns out to be an integral part of the plot. Along with that is learning about Etheria's past. The magic once used by many of this land is pretty fascinating, and I'm really interested in learning more. My biggest issue with the season is actually its length. We do learn a lot, but just as things were starting to get really exciting, the season ended. It is very much possible that, like Voltron Legendary Defender, a season with only 7 episodes was originally meant to be a larger season, meaning the point where the season stops can feel a little awkward. While it was a pretty satisfying ending, it definitely left me wanting more. But if that means we get seasons out at a faster rate, I am not complaining. I also felt like actual interaction between Adora and Catra was limited this season. More often it was Glimmer and Bow, or some of the other princesses against Catra and her allies. You know their rivalry is still intense, but it's just not as often shown through fighting like we saw in Season 1. That doesn't mean Catra doesn't get any spotlight. Far from it really, but it just means that we'll have to patiently wait for the main two to go at it once again. And as for She-Ra, it surprisingly didn't really feel like we learned a whole lot about her this season. Adora is always there, but there's a lack of focus on her for the most part. I do anticipate learning more about her very soon, however. So maybe you can already tell already, but if you can't, I honestly enjoyed the season a lot more than the first one. I didn't go into the new She-Ra with any expectations, as I had not seen the 80s show with the exception of a few episodes as research for the reboot, so I had no emotional attachment to the original. But I still felt like the first season really slogged on at points, and I didn't find most of the characters all that interesting or the story very intriguing. But after watching Season 2, my mind has pretty much changed about the show. I'm really looking forward to more episodes, and overall it was an improvement to Season 1 in terms of story and stakes. Things are really starting to ramp up, especially on Hordak's end. If you made it through Season 1 and really enjoyed it, I'm sure you'll enjoy Season 2. If you managed to get through all of the first season and are iffy about continuing on, I'd say go for it. The things we learned about Hordak, Shadow Weaver, Etheria, and a few other things make it totally worth the watch. If you hated Season 1 and think it's a terrible reboot, well, I'm not sure why you're watching this video. But on the off chance you're thinking of giving She-Ra another try, Season 2 delivers. Its design and animation has stayed the same, but I would say the story is getting better. Sometimes it may be hard to get past appearances for shows, which I know how tricky that can be since it's really difficult for people to give a show like Ruby a chance. But let me say from experience that once you give it a shot, you may end up really liking it. However, with only 7 episodes, I don't have too much else to say that wouldn't spoil things for you. So this is where I'll leave you guys for now, with a recommendation for the show and a shout out to my other Netflix reviews. I did one for Dragon Prince Season 2, and I have one coming up for the Netflix show Tuca and Birdie. For those that are watching this after season 2 aired, let me know what you thought of it. Did you have a favorite episode? Did your opinions on the show overall change? Let me know in the comments section. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Or if you want to help support the channel so I can keep doing reviews like this, you can become a patron. I have a new tier that lets you suggest an upcoming animated Netflix show for me to review if you have been enjoying my reviewing style. Thank you for watching and have an animated day.